welcome back to my channel. Today I have the third and final portion of the Q&A series that I did on my channel for reaching the 3,000 subscriber mark. I realized that this video has taken me a little bit to get up, and that's because I recorded it and then it vanished. I don't know where it went. So I actually had to go back through my social media, which I posted about this on my Instagram. So if you're not following me on Instagram, I will leave it down below for you guys always. But this is where the questions came from. And so I actually had to go back and look at all the questions again, and here I am filming it for the second time. But this will conclude the Q&A series. I do them periodically just because I put a lot of content out there that maybe you guys have some more questions on, and it just gives me a chance to answer them, and it gives you guys a chance to get to know me a little bit better through the questions. So without further ado, I'm gonna jump in. This is going to be the fitness portion of the Q&A. So I broke up the Q&A by kind of like questions. I did a YouTube one, which I will link, and I also did a homeschooling and parenting Q&A, and all of these questions, like I said, came from my Instagram. So I have my questions down below. Forgive me if I pronounce your Instagram name wrong. Everybody's name on Instagram is not their actual name, obviously, and so some of these are a little funny and I'm probably gonna butcher them, and I am gonna try to go through them fast because, believe it or not, guys, this was the section I got the most questions on, and I wrote most of them down. If they were repetitive, I obviously will answer it one time. So the first question for this fitness Q&A is from Randa 2010. She tells me that she has had 4 C-sections in 4 years, which I also did. And she is wondering what the best and safe ab exercises are after having a C-section. Okay, so first things first, make sure you're cleared from your doctor to start working out. Second things, for anyone in general, do not advocate a ton of ab work. If you are working out in general, you should be bracing your core and drawing your abs in and building up that strength in your abdominal wall through all exercises that you're doing, whether it be squatting, deadlifting, even bicep curling, standing up straight, pulling in the abs is what you should be doing. So when I train clients and when I train myself, we only do maybe 3 or 5 minutes at the end of a workout of just focused core work, okay? So if you're thinking you need to work out 30 minutes of your abs to get your stomach to be flat again, that is not true. Most of our core outward appearance comes from our diet. So just saying that right out of the gate. But for strengthening a weakened core, things I recommend are planks of all varieties. So there's ways to progress it as you get stronger. Hovers, which are going to be down on the elbows instead of on the hands. Things like mountain climbers, things like just knee taps, bringing your feet in. That type of core training is what I recommend. And then also for a mom who's had a lot of C-sections, the way that you can go about strengthening your core without even being exercising is just sitting up straight and internally bracing your abs, pulling your shoulders back, sitting up tall. Even when you're driving in your car, if you suck in your stomach, almost like you're trying on clothes too small, you're going to bring your abs more together, which is what we want to happen. So those would be my recommendations for you. Question number 2 from Haley Julian 79. Basically, she's saying that she needs to lose some weight, and she is wondering what I recommend as far as counting calories or tracking macros, because she needs more accountability than intuitive eating. So I appreciate that little side note there, Haley Julian, because intuitive eating is like a thing right now, you guys, and I think it is completely silly. Intuitive eating is basically a name for eating when you're hungry, and And I don't think we need to have a name for that. I think it's more confusing than anything, because people who are overeating are going to feel hungry more often, and so you can't just intuitively eat when you want to. So I would agree with you that if you are looking for weight loss, intuitive eating is not going to be the way to go. As far as counting calories or counting macros, I have seen both successful. It just depends on you. So if you're someone that knows if they are counting macros, but you're going to be filling your macro numbers with food choices that are not that great, then I would recommend following more of like a clean eating program, but with portion control, which is also going to be calorie restricted, obviously. So it just depends on you and where you're at. Macro tracking for weight loss can be done. In my opinion, it does take a little bit longer. And so that's it. But I've had clients succeed with both. So I recommend both, but I kind of base my recommendations off of that person and where they're at, if that makes sense. So I hope that helps you, but I would agree, intuitive eating is not the way to go for weight loss. Christy Owens explained that she works from home and she finds herself eating a lot out of boredom. Do I have any suggestions on ways to help her with that? So basically, eating out of boredom becomes a habit. It's a behavioral habit. So when you sit down and you're at your desk and you know that food is very close by, you just find yourself in repetitive behavior patterns. So the only way to stop yourself from eating out of boredom is to change your behavioral patterns. So things that I would recommend that you do to stop yourself from doing that is when you feel like you're hungry, but you know you don't need to be eating something because you've just eaten and it's out of boredom, get something to drink instead, water or, with lemon or tea or even coffee. I would recommend that. I would also recommend putting a visual reminder on the place that you go to obtain whatever food it is you're eating. So if it's the pantry or the refrigerator, maybe a quote or something that is going to remind you. But really, it's just going to be self-discipline and self-control to not fall into those behavior patterns. I also think that, replacing that behavior with something else could also be helpful. So when you feel hungry and you want to go and have a snack, but it's out of boredom, maybe get yourself a piece of gum instead, or just correcting that behavior pattern. And then the biggest tip I would have for you is to not bring food into your working place. Because if you bring a bowl of something to your desk, you're going to be eating out of it and you're going to end up overeating. And so those would be my suggestions for you. Love Living Light asked me what I recommend for someone who has knee problems because they know that I advocate HIIT, which is high intensity interval training. You are correct. I can tell you I've been following along for a little while. I am a huge advocate of HIIT training, but if you have a knee issue, then here's what I would recommend for you. So a lot of people get confused with high intensity, meaning like you have to be doing these crazy movements like tuck jumps and all these types of like super aggressive and difficult movement patterns. That is not true. I have trained so many clients that have had injuries and I still get them high intensity, but safely, because the intensity comes from the resting in between sets and also what you're doing. So for someone with a knee issue, like you said you have, I would never recommend that you do any jumping. So what could you do to increase your intensity would be to squat in place or do some other type of step-ups, holding weights down by your side, stepping up onto something. And really the intensity is going to come from not resting for a long time, maybe 10 seconds, 20 seconds the most in between your sets. That's going to give you the intensity and give you the benefit of HIIT training without impact, which is going to further injure your knee, it sounds like. So that would be my recommendation for you. She also had a second part of the question about cardio. and lifting weights. So when you incorporate HIIT training in, you're getting resistance training and anaerobic, meaning high heart rate cardio, together at the same time. And that's why I'm a huge advocate of it. I am not saying that people shouldn't do cardio. I'm just saying if you want the most bang for your buck, that is the way to go. And it reduces fat very fast. Natalie Ames asked me, is it too personal of a question? She watches all of my grocery haul videos and wonders what my grocery budget is. No, I'm an open book. I don't mind talking about stuff like this. So my grocery budget, I have tried weekly grocery shopping, and I have majority of my adult life shopped bi-weekly because that is how we have always been paid. And so I tried weekly to see if I was saving money there. I was definitely not saving money weekly grocery shopping, and I was actually going kind of crazy doing that. So I have returned to my bi-weekly grocery shopping. And I would say, now this is including dog food, toothpaste, toiletry items that we need. Our average budget bi-weekly for all of those things is between $500 and $600 every 2 weeks. So monthly, we're looking at about $1,000 to $1,200 a month. And so if you broke that down weekly, that would be between $250 and $300 per week. We are a family of 6. We eat 99% of our meals at home. We have 3 dogs. I have 4 kids. They eat a lot. They're very active. So that is my grocery budget. And I do try to buy organic where I can. I am not 100% organic, and I don't plan to be. But I do try to, get certain things. That is talking about all of our toiletries, our dog food, paper towels, toilet paper, all that type of stuff, including our food. The only thing that I don't really include in there are like my proteins and things like that, because I don't buy them but once every few months, so they're not like something I'm getting every 2 weeks. Amy Kate Photography asked me, I'm looking at my questions if you're wondering why I'm looking down. How do I work in my hobby of fitness? She's a mom that has a bunch of littles. Do I wake up early? Do I stay up late? She actually asked a couple of questions in one. So to answer that question first, Amy, with homeschooling, I have had to become much more flexible with my workouts. Meaning that I can't be picky on the time that I get to work out, and sometimes it's even what workout I get to do. Some days I would love, if I lived in a perfect dreamland, to go to the gym for an hour and a half to myself and work out like that every day. But that perfect dreamland does not exist for me. And so for me to make it work, I have had to become more flexible, meaning sometimes I have to work out when my kids are doing their extracurricular activities. So sometimes that means I'm running and doing lunges and doing push-ups at the soccer fields while my daughter practices. Other times that means I'm waiting until 5 o'clock at night while my son swims to work out while he's swimming, since I'm there anyway, even though I would prefer to work out between 9 and 10. So that's how I make it work, is I've just had to be flexible. But the biggest thing I can tell you is we make time in our life for what our priorities are, no matter what they are. If your work is a priority, you make time for it. If your time with God is a priority, you make time for it. Working out is a daily priority to my life because it is essential for my health physically and mentally. So it's a non-negotiable. I have to work out, and I will do whatever is necessary to make it happen on that day. But some other tips I have for you are to just look at your week ahead. Don't try to put yourself on a 30-day schedule where you're going to be doing X, Y, and Z. That's too hard, even for me. So on like Sunday, I plan out my week. I look at my week. I see what's going on and where I'm going to be able to squeeze workouts in. So I would just say, when you make it a priority, you find a way. Second to homeschooling, working out is an equal priority because I truly could not homeschool my kids if I didn't have a release in exercise. Also, it's my job. So that helps a little bit, but people misunderstand, and they think that because I'm an instructor and because I'm a trainer, then that is my workout, and that is not true. There is only one class, and that's indoor cycling, where I get the full workout as I teach. My other classes are not a workout for me. They are kind of like, sure, I demonstrate some movements, but it's not enough to call it a workout. So I do have to find time to exercise on my own as well. And she also asked me, how often am I away from home by myself? Because she's wondering what's realistic. To be honest, and my kids are 5 through 10, away alone without a child, once a month, maybe 2 times a month, maybe. So it's not that often, and it just is what it is. It's hard enough for my husband and I to get a date night. For me to be alone is just it's very hard to fit that also in. Now, when I am feeling really run down or really exhausted, then I will tell my husband I have got to get away and be alone for a little while, but I would tell you it probably only happens once a month, sadly. CM McCoy 101 says she works on the road and she's wondering what healthy snacks I would recommend because she doesn't have access to a microwave, refrigerator, etc. And she loves my videos. Thank you so much. That's so sweet. I would just recommend protein bars, protein shakes, dried fruit in correct portions, some nuts also in correct portions because those are high in fat. And then, just fruit that doesn't need to be refrigerated. Those would be like my top suggestions for you. Rice cakes as well. If you could find like the prepackaged peanut butter, that could also be a good option for you. So those would be my recommendations. Sable747 tells me about her mom, who is 70. She has arthritis and the doctor keeps recommending more exercise, but she's in pain, so what can she do? So obviously I'm not a doctor, but I am a trainer. And so the thing with arthritis, which I know it sounds like counterproductive, but it is true. The less we move, the more our arthritis becomes painful. So moving with arthritis is what's going to be the best. So for your mom at the age of 70, it is just about preserving quality of life. So I would just recommend going for walks, going swimming. If she really wanted to be overzealous, she could try a water aerobics class, following an instructor. I would recommend Tai Chi. I would recommend gentle yoga. Those would be the things that I would look into, and I would really look into an active adult center or a senior center for instructors who specialize in training the elderly population. At the gym I work at, we have a huge elderly population there, and there are instructors who are certified strictly to teach them classes like silver sneakers and seated exercise classes would be great options for her, and it would honestly help her arthritis feel better. So I hope she can get into some of those things. 2 more questions, you guys. This is a super long Q&A. Katie Vincent asked me my thoughts on intermittent fasting, and I saved this question for the last one because it's kind of a hot topic right now. As you guys know, I'm sure you know, things in the fitness world come in waves and trends. And right now, intermittent fasting is a trendy thing to be doing. So before anyone implements things into their life as far as fitness goes, I always recommend that you research out the science behind the method to understand why someone would integrate intermittent fasting into their fitness regime. I do not recommend intermittent fasting for everyone. I recommend intermittent fasting for a very small population. The average mom out there that needs to lose weight does not need to intermittent fast. And I personally believe that when we are struggling to lose weight as women, we look for all of these things to be the reason why we're not succeeding. Oh, I'm not losing weight because I'm not intermittent fasting, and that girl is, so that's what I need to be doing. Not true. The average mom, the average person will lose weight, become healthy, become fit by doing two very simple things: eating a well-balanced, healthy diet and exercising every single day. So my thoughts on intermittent fasting are there is science on why someone would do that, but do I think that the average mom who needs to get back in shape needs to intermittent fast? No. And do I intermittent fast? No. So I hope that answers your question. So that is going to be it for this fitness Q&A. If you stuck through this video, then 2 high fives for you, because this was very long. But like I said, I had so many questions and I wanted to answer them all, but this will probably be the last time I'm able to do that, and then I'm going to have to start picking and choosing. So thanks for watching. I hope this video helps you guys, and if you left me a question, thanks so much. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.